Browns today. We'll talk about that. Monday Night Football last night. Le'Veon Bell had himself a game. Steelers. That was a good one last night. We'll talk about all of that and more coming up next. Dr. Football joins us talking Browns, NFL, and more here on the Sports Fix. There we go. That's what, is it the Sports Fix? Yeah, it's okay. We're going to call it the Sports Fix. Coming back with Dr. Football next.
Warning. Listening to the Sports Fix could cause serious injury, bodily harm, or even death.
Broken blood vessel!
You've been warned. The Sports Fix.
Hey guys, before we go to the break, I want to talk to you a little bit again about our good friends at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted, the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championships, some of the hottest fights in the world today. Each and every one of their huge events, Harry Buffalo is one of the few places in Northeast Ohio you can go there and watch each and every UFC fight at the Harry Buffalo. And let me tell you, I've been there. The people are out the door. They are to the rafters. It is one of the craziest environments for some UFC fights. Wing Mondays, they've got great deals on wings and drinks, and every day of the week there's a different special, a different deal. And don't forget the Bison Burger, the unbelievable. It is the combination of a fantastic burger and eating healthy combined into one unbelievable sandwich. You have got to get a Bison Burger while you're there. So whatever you're looking for, whatever day of the week, Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sundays, there's something for you at the Harry Buffalo North Olmsted, just outside Great Northern Mall. Check them out today. Harry Buffalo, join the herd.
Hey, this is Antoine Jameson, and you listen to the Sports Fix.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Ohio. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Sports Fix is now available every day on the world's largest internet radio service, iHeartRadio. Download the free iHeartRadio app, subscribe to the show, and get your fix.
Back in 1990, when I joined Herb in the booth, you could say that first game was when I became a lifelong Tribe fan. Something about Cleveland made us want to stay and call it our home, raise our family here. I can promise you one thing, home or on the road, I feel what you folks feel, what you feel every game. Cleveland fans are passionate and pretty vocal. I respect that. This is our team. This is our town. This is a Tribe town.
Hi, this is Dean Chenoweth, head coach of Cleveland's Lake Erie Monsters, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix Live across the Sports Fix Radio Network as we roll on in Hour 2. Thanks again to the Lake Erie Monsters. Thanks to Doug Plagens for joining us in the last segment. Always fun when Doug's with us, usually every Tuesday right here on the Sports Fix. Occasionally, we've got to adjust that with the Monsters road schedule, but usually Tuesdays, Monsters fans, you can catch Doug Plagens right here this weekend. Double shot with Grand Rapids. I'm telling you, it seems like they're playing all their Grand Rapids games in the first part of the season here, man. A lot of familiarity there between the two teams. Looking forward to having Dougie back on next week before Thanksgiving. Thanks to Jeff Gorman, too, in Hour 1 for joining us. We talked a little Tribe, a little Giancarlo Stanton and the Federal Reserve that he just signed a contract. I'm telling you, man, he can loan. I'm just saying, he can loan people some money, that's for sure, man. I wish I was friends with Giancarlo Stanton today. That's for sure. Not that I wouldn't have wanted to be friends with him yesterday, but I think we'd be better friends today, $300 and some million later. I'm just kidding. I'll be your friend if you're broke. I'm not one of those guys. But, I mean, I'll do you a lot more favors if you're worth $350 million. I can't lie about that. Welcome back in. J-Rock with you. Going to talk to my man, Dr. Football, here on the hotline. We're going to talk about Ben Tate, cut by the Browns. We'll talk some Monday Night Football last night. Adrian Peterson suspended, not happy. He filed an appeal. Ray Rice, I'm telling you, there was people in the same day. It was like all of the NFL ghosts coming out there, man. AP's not playing. Now, will the Colts sign Ray Rice? I'm telling you, man. I still don't even believe I'm saying there's not a team in this. There's not a team in the league. Not a team in the league. I'm not even going to go any further with that. There's not a team in the league. Clearly. They'll trade a first-round draft pick for T-Rich before somebody's going to sign. Oh, wait. Somebody did that. Well, somebody will do that again before they'll go sign that guy. I can tell you that. But anyway, speaking of signing guys, Josh Cribbs ends up with the Colts. I think Ben Tate's going to end up there too. It's going to be a reunion here coming up in a couple of weeks. The Indianapolis former Browns against the current Browns coming up here. Let's talk about all of that with Dr. Football. And the DEA was raiding some folks over the weekend. Bill Chachkes is with us every Tuesday going around the NFL and talking Browns. Dr. Football on the phone lines. How you doing, Bill?
J-Rock.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. What are you doing? What's going on?
Hey, I'm all right, man. We're just doing the thing here, man, as always. And I don't know. I guess we'll start. Ben Tate, what was your thoughts? We've been talking for the last few weeks. A lot of us knew where this was going, but not necessarily that it was going there today. What are your thoughts when you heard that the Browns cut ties today with Ben Tate?
Well, I agree, Jerry. I didn't think it was going to happen so soon, but I'm not surprised it did happen. I guess, Farmer and Pettin feel that it's the right time to make the break. And, you got two guys. I've always preferred a 3 running back rotation, but on a team like this, there's only one ball. And, you already got 2 guys carrying it really well. So let's unload the big contract. Not that his contract was that big, but still, it was enough of an issue that they didn't want to carry him the rest of the season.
I'll tell you, I don't think it was the football aspect, though. I think if he'd have kept his mouth shut and his attitude right and done what they thought he would do, which was be a veteran example as well as being a running back, I do believe they would have paid him for the rest of the season and then cut him loose in the offseason. But I don't think it had anything to do with football why they cut him loose. They cut him loose because when you put a guy third in your rotation, you have to determine whether he's going to be a good locker room presence, because if he's not, your first guy can barely be disruptive, but at least if he's a starter, you tolerate a little bit of nonsense because they got talent. Your third string running back cannot be disruptive. I don't care what your name is. You can't. It's just like no, not to start that argument, but when we used to talk about Manziel in the preseason, your backup quarterback cannot be a distraction. Like, that just can't happen on a team. If there's going to be a distraction around the starter, well, that's a position where at least there's distractibility. But the backup quarterback, the third string running back, those don't exist as far as the media is concerned. And if they do, then your team can never be successful because they're going to be focused on all the wrong things. So, I mean, it had nothing to do with football why he was cut today. Football is why he wouldn't have came back next year. His attitude is why he was cut today. They're just like, look, man, we're not stupid. We know this guy's not going to be happy about this, so we're just going to have to do this. Plus, I'll be honest, I think they were doing him a favor. They saw this past week the opening with Bradshaw, and there is an opportunity. If you're going to cut the guy next week, then that job's going to be taken. They're going to probably go out and fill that hole and make their plan for the rest of the season. So I think the Browns looked at each other and said, hey, maybe he can catch on with the Colts. Maybe he can salvage the rest of his season. Let's just do this today and get it over with.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I certainly agree with that. Ben has a little bit of an issue, not so much just as much to being the third string as watching his playing time diminish. You could still have the third stringer who gets in 5, 6, 7, 10 carries a game, plays a little special teams, is a rah-rah guy, like you said, a leader on the sidelines. Unfortunately, Ben wasn't doing that, at least the past couple of weeks, and he became more of a liability than a benefit.
That's it, and that's done and over with, and we'll see where he ends up, but the Browns are moving forward. They're moving forward as well with Josh Gordon, and they're being very careful, too, which they should, to temper some of these expectations, because they know that no matter how many times guys like us say it too, say things like, well, don't expect him to come in with a cape and save the day. It'll be happy if he, is a anything he adds to this team is a good thing, but it's not going to save the day. It's just going to add a very good piece to your team, and hopefully that plays in. They've done a good job with that there. But before we look forward with him rejoining the team this week, what were your thoughts on Houston? Obviously, J.J. Watt, we mentioned it yesterday. He showed how he can dominate a game by himself on the defensive side of the ball. What were your thoughts on the Browns in Houston?
Well, I was a little surprised that they didn't have a better scheme to keep Watt contained. Not that you can contain him all game anyway.
Right.
I wasn't surprised that it became difficult for them to get by, and obviously they did not. It might have brought a few people on the team and in the fan base back down to earth as far as what the Browns' expectations are. But it's a good litmus test. Let me get that out the right way. It's a good litmus test. It's a good wake me up to remind them that you can't just coast on your accolades. You have to put in the work and keep putting in the work. And obviously they'll go back to the drawing board with the installation of this week's plan. And I see a lot of good possibilities in this game coming up, but I'll wait for you to cue me in to talk about that.
Are you talking about Atlanta? Yeah, coming up. Well, all right. We can look that way because with, here we sit now. There's a big logjam now coming up in the AFC. This is going to be fun. Final 6 weeks of the season, which is all, I go back to what I said last week. All the Browns' first part of the season does is they didn't win anything except the chance for the last 6 games to mean something, and now all of these teams are kind of log jammed in the AFC. It's going to be a race, and I'll tell you, for a minute I thought maybe the North was perhaps going to be able to squeeze a wild card, and maybe they will, but I don't know. I think the possibility is that they're going to bloodlet each other, and the one team left standing will get the only playoff spot coming out of the North there. So 6 weeks left. There's a ton of teams here all tied up in that 6-7 win area there, 5 wins coming up underneath. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and this is where the Browns start that run with Atlanta. Atlanta's a tricky team to talk about because we've seen them look very, very good at times this year and very bad as well. For the most part, they're a better team at home. John McMullen brought up yesterday that they've lost all of their games outside of the conference, so there's that aspect of it. And but then again, none of that really matters. When two teams match up, it's not who's coming in, winning this and losing that. It's how the X's and O's match up. There's still a lot of weapons on that Falcons team. The Browns are clearly going to have to try to establish the run and keep Matty Ice off the field.
Yeah, no question about that. And, the Falcons are a team that can very quickly get very hot, and they have a lot of talent on the offense. And if they're on their game, it will not be an easy task. But that doesn't mean it's not possible. We've learned this year in watching the Browns that anything is possible in any game.
What do you think? Look at the Browns defensively. Let's not even talk about anything else as we sit here with Jabal Sheard. I'll tell you what, real quick. Let me get away from that because I wanted to bring that up anyway. It just reminded me of something. I don't know where the disconnect is with Jabal Sheard, but Coach Pettin yesterday is talking like Sheard's season is over, and then Mike Trevisano, the radio host here in Cleveland, is sending out tweets that Jabal Sheard's walking around with no limp in a walking boot, talking about playing this week, that he's hopeful to get into this week's game. Meanwhile, here's Katz talking about he may be done for the season. I'm not sure because that came from the coach. He's like, well, we may get Dansby back in a month, but Sheard may be a lot more serious. And then literally an hour later, Trev is tweeting out, contrary to what other people may say, Jabal Sheard's walking around just fine right now. So I don't know if it's an ankle deal, if there was some worry that it's not a Liz Frank from what I'm hearing, that it was a foot type of injury. But man, that's a weird disconnect that the team is speaking as if we may have lost him for the season, and he's out watching Monday Night Football telling Cats he's trying to play this week.
Well, not only that, he still has to be cleared. He may
absolutely
be walking around.
Yeah, he can want to play all he wants. Yeah,
right. The doctor has to clear him, and the doctor has to clear him by Friday. he can't wait till Saturday and say, okay, you're going to play tomorrow. You've got a 36-hour window where